Hey everybody, I am on for the midweek message reveal Wednesday, May 21st. Thanks for hanging out here with me. We're going to talk about the energy this week. First of all, happy birthday, Gemini babies. You beautiful, dualistic, chatty little angels. Geminis are always such interesting creatures. They're such a, there's never a dull moment. And I think that's the energy that we should lean into the most. What we've come from is something that was a little more stagnant and a little more in its own body, in the physicalness of Taurus, right? So we've just literally barely eked ourselves out of Taurus season, a very heavy earth sign in its materialness and understanding what it feels like to be of this realm and of the physical body and of the world. Gemini is all about the cerebral, all about the freedom of the mind and how to get to a space where there is no limit. There is no cap on what can be created or what could be discussed or what could be imagined. And while there may not necessarily be a process yet in place, Gemini isn't necessarily the ones to organize that, right? That's not necessarily the best role that they could have. But what they are able to do here is to incite excitement and to create engagement through communication. Why is this interesting? This is interesting and cool for us because we have Mercury in Taurus. So where is that taking us? It's taking us to a rooted place where what we say is what we mean, and our ideas are actually able to take form. They're able to not just seed themselves, they're actually able to kind of go through the process with a little bit of boost, and we are able to see those things come to fruition sooner. So it's all about how you speak, though. So if you are speaking ill or if you're speaking in a wishy-washy way about what it is you want and need, you're going to get what you want and need back at you in a wishy-washy way. And it's not going to feel comfortable. And if that's the other side of the energy that's going on here, if you're not feeling comfortable, a lot of that's that Venus and Aries energy, that sort of desire to kind of get things going. But since we have some of that Taurian vibe, and we're doing a lot of thinking, because now we have see, I can't even get my words out of my mouth because I'm thinking too quick. That I have we're stuck in a space where there is such a desire to go. We're revving our engines and we're kind of getting high on the fumes in the process. We're not ready to actually get on the road and do the thing. But we're getting there and we're fixing to get there. And there's a frustration around it. And that is creating discomfort. There's also insane solar flare activity that's happening and has been happening. So you're feeling that in the joints. You're feeling that in the weird weather patterns that are happening. A lot of air and water sort of natural disasters occurring. A lot of storms coming out of nowhere and creating a example of what the force can do, of what the mind can do, of what mental focus can actually manifest as. I'm not saying that people are mentally creating tornadoes. I'm saying that the ability for what we can create in the mind can create its own reality, its own world. And a lot of us are having that world view busted up, ripped up, and thrown across Kansas, right? There's a different sort of energy about now. And we're experiencing different aspects of planets that have never moved through signs. We haven't lived these times and these energies. We don't know how this works. So while we might know what Mercury and Taurus feels like, we don't know what it feels like with the energy of Pluto and Aquarius. We don't know what it's going to feel like when Saturn makes a flip. We don't know how that's going to affect things. And that doesn't mean it needs to be negative. So I want to take the doom and gloom out of that. I think it's more that it's explorative and it allows us to deepen something. Because we wouldn't be going through this if we weren't ready for it. We wouldn't be experiencing this opportunity for this new sort of mix up of energies if it wasn't something that we were prepared for. So you got to trust that part. And I know that's hard, but there's a lot of blind faith that needs to occur in order for shit to get done. And that's just life. Okay, girl. All right, I'm going to go ahead and jump into the messages. All right. Please make sure you like and subscribe and put a little blurb there. Blah, blah. Thank you so much. Sharing and liking and doing those things, and even just saying hey every once in a while does wonders for reach, as the algorithms, they be rhythming. All right, so here's one. If you chose one, she's a beaut. Connecting with your energy one, I'm seeing I'm actually connecting with dragon energy. It's very freeing, it's very fiery. There's also an element of air behind it that comes through and wants to bring through a sense of clarity and a sense of ideas and push things along. You've been looking for someone to help in this sense of almost asking for support and motivating yourself. And you've tried different things and those things don't necessarily come to pass. You're good for a couple days and then you kind of fall off and it doesn't stick. Or some of it does, but you just don't really feel like you're all in on it. And it's hard to be half-hearted anymore when the world is requiring us to feel so much of a wholehearted thing. I think that that's a lot of it. I think sometimes it's difficult to have emotions for ourselves when there's so much going on to have emotions about. And that tracks. So with you, one, there is a desire for that freedom. The energy that is coming through specifically with the new moon in Gemini on the 28th, so a week from now, will be able to bring through that sort of cosmic kick. This is Sparta kick right off into another opportunity for a choice and a timeline shift. Because everything that we do, every choice that you make, just me putting my hands together here instead of doing it twice, is a different path on a different trajectory that will go down a different journey. Okay. And I think what is an important reminder for you, one, is to know that you can consciously choose in your best interest without feeling rushed. And perhaps that's kind of what you're up against now, feeling kind of backed into a corner about some things that you need to make moves on or you need to make a decision on. It feels like you're kind of being tasked with some things and it doesn't necessarily jive with you. And you can't do things half-heartedly or half-assedly. That's just not your style. Honor that. Don't feel shame for that. I think that that's something that is a limiting belief that has kind of come up with you through childhood, to where you feel that, caring too much it's like, why do you get so involved? And it was something that was not necessarily seen as a great skill and a compassion, and a true mark of sensitivity. But it was kind of seen as something that was just maybe perhaps seen to gain attention or to dawdle or delay, because you took your time. So there's a real push-pull around time and needing to either be on time or go faster or go slower in your own desire to be at your own pace. This is a wonderful opportunity for you to work with an affirmation that I personally love, which is that my pace is perfect. I recommend just giving yourself some time whenever you get into a rushed state. If you find yourself kind of your blood pressure raising, you're getting a little shook up, to take a couple breaths, repeat to yourself, even if it's only in your mind, my pace is perfect. There is nothing that is going to miss you. And a lot of times, any delay that occurs, see it as divine redirection. See it as an opportunity for the universe took an opportunity to kind of redirect you and have something change outside of your expectation. Stay open, and that will pay off and also will allow you to kind of sync back up to that confidence that you previously had. Because being you is awesome. You're cool. They just can't handle it. Mm-hmm. That's their problem. That's a them problem. All right. Like, do I want to do this on the little stand? Yes, I do. Okay, if you chose to. So rad. Connecting with your energy too. You're making some decisions about some life stuff. It also affects family, and whether that's some extended family that is asking for your assistance or is asking for your maybe your advice, or maybe it's something that you're literally having to work on or within. Um, it's kind of it has you kind of reviewing your own situation and reviewing your own mortality, reviewing reviewing everything. Actually, it's kind of a big deal. It might be something that some of you are ignoring, actually looking at it, because it makes you feel that weird feeling where you feel like the floor's falling, kind of like when you fall asleep and like when you're in study hall and you fall asleep and you feel like you're going to fall out of your desk. That feeling is you connecting with the fact that you are everything and that you know a lot more than you are letting yourself know. And that's all of us. That feeling is that cosmic connect and disconnect point. It's a really weirdo feeling, but it's undeniable. And in that, there's a desire to find a sense of self, find a sense of who you are again, and know that within yourself you have that resiliency. It's difficult to face yourself and the things that we experience as we age, and perhaps you're experiencing. I'm hearing like I'm hearing disconnect. You're starting to see other people in your own face. You're starting to experience things almost in a way that you've experienced as an echo when someone else has experienced, whether it's, as a child, it's conversations that you're having that you've overheard and didn't necessarily know what those things were. You're starting to see patterns of what happens in life, especially mid to later life, and how that affects the decisions that we make, how that affects parenting, how that affects your day-to-day working life, how you show up in the world, what you do in your spare time, if and all of the facets of being an active human according to what we've signed up for there. It can be kind of heavy spaghetti, man, and it's not the most fun thing to look at and navel gaze, and yet you're kind of there. And with it comes a certain sort of disconnect where you may be feeling detached, and you might be finding yourself dissociating, where you end up driving home and you're home, and 20 minutes have gone by and you were not really conscious for any of it, and somehow you're there. That reptilian brain kind of taking over, and the primordial brain, and allowing it to steer the ship. So this is a call from your team to be a little bit more present. Work on the fact that you need that reminder. That doesn't mean that there's anything wrong. It's just a way for you to receive the balance that is trying to be given to you through nature and grounding activities, things that you could be doing in order to kind of allow yourself to let this information distill more into your system. Because a lot of it is energetic. A lot of it is feeling stuff. A lot of it is cleansing and purging and shifting away, allowing there to be a stiff breeze to clear things away, and that is this Gemini energy. So let it happen. Just know that you won't be carried away with it. It's actually doing the sloughing off pretty well. And with the moon, you'll also be able to accelerate that process and that healing. Okay. Moving on to 3. If you chose 3. Connecting with your energy 3. I feel a lot of tension actually in like my hips and like my low back. This tension is kind of moving more to the left side of the body, which is the feminine energy, and is connecting with our desire to receive. And through this, when we're dealing with the hips, as the hips are the things that allow us to move and allow us to be mobile and twist and turn, you're maybe feeling a sense of uncertainty, or feeling a sense of trepidation, not sure which way to turn, not sure which way to go on a path. And through that, its basis and is its energy, its desire, the whole reason why it exists. What is it that you're to be doing is kind of founded in whether or not you feel passionate about it and how you feel about it, because you want to go towards something that feels good. So there is that desire. How do you get from that point to the next? Well, some of this is requiring you to step out of your comfort zone a bit. And stepping out of your comfort zone is not something that typically is easy for anyone, which is why it applies to a lot of people. But through this feeling of stuck energy, the stuck feeling, there is more movement if you would allow yourself to entertain what the energy of Gemini is going to be bringing through, which is an opportunity to see things in a different way and to really kind of noodle it, like get into a deep talk about it, do like some, graduate level dissertation type research if you feel like you need to go there, because sometimes it just feels good to scratch that itch, to, say that you've made a decision about something or something that you want to do. And yet there's still that energy behind, well, but I want to find out more about it. I want to cultivate more information. I want to continue to imagine this out further, to plan it out. Don't feel like you shouldn't do that just because you've decided on something, because there is value in the creative process. There's value in the daydreaming. There's value in the discussing and the brainstorming, the running through ideas or soundboarding with others, and that desire to do so. Follow that. Let yourself be heard is the other vibe here. So don't close off opportunities that things couldn't happen here, because it's kind of a expect the unexpected sort of energy. There are factors, like I was saying earlier in the beginning here, where we don't know how some of these energies are going to interplay with what we kind of have a pulse on, right? So there is a sense of curiosity. There is a sense of electricity that is behind it, that is exciting. That's what really you should be following, is that urge. So if you ever feel like you're unsure of where to turn, literally, and that feeling of stuck energy is heavy in the body, maybe it makes you feel very sluggish. Sometimes it can make you feel very much in wanting to yawn a lot and feeling confused. That sort of listless confusion vibe can be remedied by allowing yourself to literally flex the concept of different possibilities happening, by creating different things that you want to imagine about, different scenarios that this path could take, and allowing yourself to literally work out those stiff joints, the stiff feelings of not being able to move freely, of not being able to make a decision, of not being able to choose what is best for you based on what you want, not what someone else feels that you should have or do, or what you think society is trying to put on you. Flex that muscle. The energy is good for it. So essentially, this is a good time for your, sort of tune-up in an energetic sense. If you need help with that, or would like some assistance in that area, this is something that I love to do, and I would create a plan for you and a program. So feel free to reach out if you're interested in anything like that. That's a great segue to my website. Boo, 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 boo. So if you would like to work with me, I would love to work with you. And you can reach me here. As I said, lots of options. Just, if you're curious about some of the things that you'd like to work on, please feel free to reach out and have a conversation with me. Would love to hear how these readings landed for you this week, so please leave me some feedback. And that's it. I hope you have a good week. I hope you use your voice, and I hope you, reach out and help other people reach theirs, because we all need that. Okay? So be kind to one another. Peace out. Love y'all.